The Beauty of Car Control by Phrillip.
Car control. Something we all want, but only few have mastered. From ceiling shuffles to wave dash flicks. Only the best of the best, those who have put blood, sweat, and tears into training this wonderful craft and perfecting it into art, those who have become one with their car. Every player has a different path on their journey in playing Rocket League. For some, it can take thousands of hours of grinding the game, but they finally make it to Grand Champ. Others are stuck in Plat, and they should probably give up and stop playing. And then, they're the ones who don't care about their rank. Or, they're good enough to not have to care. They just are the best. So instead, they dedicate their hours into perfecting their car control. But what does that accomplish? To find out, let's go back to the beginning. Before Rocket League. This is SARP, or Supersonic Acrobatic Rocket Powered Battle Cars. And the first player we'll be looking at is the OG, a player that goes by the name of JayZ, or JayZ, or Red Joni. Is that right? Chances are, if you know what freestyling in Rocket League is, you've more than likely heard of the name JayZ. JayZ is a player that started out on SARP years before Rocket League was released. He is one of the few SARP veterans and was putting out montages as early as December 2011. Even during his SARP years, he was pulling off shots that most players would be shocked to hit even to this day. If we fast forward a bit to when Rocket League was released, JayZ started a series called Freestyle Fridays. For anyone that played Rocket League at the start and saw these videos, it was mind-blowing seeing the things that JayZ could pull off week to week. And the insane thing is, he only improved. JayZ constantly was one-upping his best shots week after week, making his early videos look like child's play. And he even got second place for the 2019 Goal of the Year alongside Rezi and Hibbs with this insane goal.
Oh, I didn't even mean to do that.
That's fun. Grab a boost. Pinch.
Oh! What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck?
What was that?
What?
Oh my
Rizzy,
god.
you madman.
Oh
Fucking
my
well
God.
done. Score.
The next player we're going to talk about is Gainer. Gainer set out with a goal when starting Rocket League. He wanted to be the first player to get 12 flip resets in a row, and he did just that. Most players find it very difficult to get a double or even a single flip reset, but Gainer went on to be the first player to get 15 flip resets in a row. Now, I've played with and against Gainer multiple times, and the level of car control he has is unbelievable. When he goes for a flip reset, it almost seems as if his car is a magnet to the ball. He instantly can start chaining flip resets, and he can even do it against high-level players. Gainer set out with a goal that most players will never achieve, but with the hard work and dedication that he put into Rocket League, and the progress he made as a player through his never-ending grind of training, Gainer was able to complete his goal. And with his many hours of practice, Gainer became one of the most proficient players when it comes to car control. Another player that has nearly perfected one mechanic is Novel, and that mechanic is the ceiling shuffle. A very difficult mechanic, so of course, Novel does it backwards. Not only backwards, but 360ing on the ceiling. Like, some players can't even do what he does on the ground. And then he does it into a flip reset. Now, there's not much to say about Novel, besides the fact that his skill and car control shows a level of time and dedication that many players will never be able to achieve. Novel is an insane freestyler that scores unbelievable goals and never stops improving what he's capable of doing with his car. One player that seems to have an all-around perfect level of car control in many different areas is a Vample. Vample seems to consistently break the limit on what's possible in Rocket League, and his car control is mesmerizing to watch. Vample put out a video called Dribble Challenge Trickshot Version, where he goes through the entire dribbling challenge, but with style. Now, he specifies in the video that these aren't one after another, but that's beside the point. He goes through 30 levels that are already difficult on their own, but he does them with a ridiculous amount of skill and car control. Vample breaks the boundaries when it comes to car control, and it seems that the ball is just an extension of his car. I've played against Vample in solo duel, and when he goes for a freestyle, there's absolutely no defending against him. Vample is one of the best players in terms of car control, and he makes it look incredibly easy. Another player that has an all-around amazing sense of car control, but also managed to turn a simple mechanic into something amazing and complex, is Fuchsia. Fuchsia learned that you can manipulate the ball in certain ways by pre-flipping. For those that don't know what pre-flipping is, you flip prior to hitting the ball. It sounds simple, because it is, until Fuchsia made it something more than just flipping a little bit early into the ball. Now obviously there were players that did pre-flips before Fuchsia, but Fuchsia perfected pre-flipping into a craft, and learned how to make it into something viable for competitive play and actually beneficial to learn. Not only is pre-flipping viable, sometimes it can be one of the only ways to score certain goals. Sadly, with Fuchsia popularizing pre-flips, it started a wave of players who think they can just flip a little bit before hitting the ball, and that they should slap that on Reddit because now they're an official member of the pre-flip gang. Now, just like the other freestylers I've listed, Fuchsia isn't only good at one thing. The amount of car control that Fuchsia has exceeds the standard level for Rocket League, and it shows in many different ways, including, but not limited to, Fuchsia's pre-flips. The last player we'll be looking at is myself. Now, I'm not saving the best for last. In fact, I'm saving the worst for last. But I thought it'd be best to talk about my own personal journey with Rocket League, and my attempt at perfecting my car control. Now, the players I listed today all are amazing freestylers with an unbelievable amount of car control, and they each have their own specific playstyle and different mechanics that they've mastered when it comes to Rocket League. They've all put so much time into this game, it's to the point where it seems impossible to do the things they do. I've played Rocket League for almost 3,500 hours, and I'm nowhere near their skill level. But, from my own experience, I know it's possible to achieve that insane level of car control. It just takes a lot of time and dedication. I started playing Rocket League the day it came out, and I got hooked immediately. I remember watching Freestyle Fridays and thinking freestyling would never be possible for me since I could barely even aerial. Until one day, after hours of practice, I pulled off my first freestyle. It wasn't clean, there were basically no defenders, and the ball was just sort of floating in front of the net. But I did it. I went on to love the feeling of having full control over my car and wanted to improve that. I eventually got my first ceiling shot, then I got my first double flip reset, then my first breezy flick. All of these mechanics I had never even dreamed that I'd be able to pull off, and now I can do some of them without even thinking about it. I still look at the freestylers I listed today and think very similar thoughts, like how I'll never be able to chain 12 flip resets or even come close to getting a ceiling shuffle into a flip reset, and that's where I'm wrong. With enough time and dedication, it is possible to master your car control. Mastering anything takes a lot of time. You'll put in hours and hours of practice, and have failed attempt after failed attempt. But when you've put so much work into it, and that ball finally lines up in the perfect place, well, it's all worth it. Oh, unless you're plat.